Hello, fourth graders. It's Mrs. Walker, and I'm here with you today to read aloud and discuss with you page 3 of your embryology booklet. And the title of this page is What is Embryology? Embryology is the study or the science of the growth of a living thing. I'm going to break this word down for you even a little bit more. If we break it into two parts, the word embryo means the beginning of life of any living thing, and ology means the science or the study of. You will find that ending, ology, or that suffix on a lot of different words that have to do with sciences. For example, biology is the study of life, ecology is the study of the relationships between living things. You've heard the words paleontology and archaeology in PA history. So when we put that together, ology, the science or the study of living things or the beginning of life. In this project, you will study the science of the chicken embryo. You will be able to watch the embryo growing inside the egg until it hatches into a chick. The chicken egg is an excellent learning tool for the study of embryology. Unlike most animals, including humans, the chicken embryo growth takes place within the egg and outside the body of the mother. So that's different from humans, where the development of the young takes place inside the mother. Since the chicken egg, develops outside the mother, we're able to observe it more easily and study it. So that's one exciting piece of using chicken eggs for learning about embryology. It says here also the egg is small. The chicken egg is fairly small. It's easily available, right? We can get eggs at local farms or grocery stores. And eggs have a short incubation period. We're going to learn it takes only 21 days on average for an egg to develop and hatch into a baby chicken. So that's what makes it easy to study in the classroom. Let's go on. How do we incubate eggs? When you see that word incubate, that's going to mean keeping warm, and warmth will help aid in the development of the chicken. So it says here, in nature, the female bird, which we call the hen, picks the nest site and lays a group or clutch of eggs, usually 8 to 13 eggs, 1 egg per day. So it'll take her usually a little over a week to lay all these eggs in her clutch, and then she will begin setting on them. So she's not keeping them warm until she has all the eggs in her clutch. She begins setting on the eggs all the time once she has that clutch, and she'll leave it only for food and water. This time is called the incubation period. The hen's body temperature is between 105 and 106 degrees Fahrenheit. When she sits on the eggs, this heats the center of the eggs to 100 to 101 degrees Fahrenheit. The hen turns the eggs on a regular basis by using her beak to scoop under the egg and roll it toward her. The humidity or moisture comes from the environment, the hen's body, and any moisture the hen brings back to the nest on her feathers. So not only does her body keep the eggs warm, but she turns them with her beak so they don't stick to the side of the egg, and she brings moisture back to the nest, or some of it comes from the environment. There's actually tiny little holes in the shell of an egg called pores that moisture can pass through to kind of help the chick develop and keep it moist. So humidity is another important factor in incubating eggs. Then it says we have replaced the hen with a machine called an incubator. And I will be showing you some pictures of incubators. Normally we just use one in the classroom, but you'll be able to see what this machine looks like that will keep the eggs warm. The following are very important for a successful hatch. Let's look. Number 1, temperature. So we already know that eggs have to be kept warm in order to hatch, but it's actually really important when we're incubating them in a machine, and the mother hen herself tries to keep the eggs between 99 degrees Fahrenheit and 101 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature can be adjusted depending on the type of incubator. This kind of goes over 2 different types of incubators. It says some have fans to help stir the air. They're called forced air incubators, and they run at 99.5 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Some incubators do not have fans to stir or mix the air, and those are called still air incubators. Still air incubators, if the air is not being mixed or stirred, they get run a little bit warmer, 100 to 101 degrees Fahrenheit. Now here's something kind of interesting. If the temperature falls below 99, this will result in a late hatch, longer than 21 days, and the chicks will be weak. On the other side of the spectrum, if the temperatures go over 102 degrees Fahrenheit, that can result in also an early hatch prior to 21 days, and again, the chicks will be weak. So it's really important to regulate temperature to make sure the chicks hatch on time and that they're healthy. Another important factor here, one more thing in regard to temperature. If the temperature dips below 92 degrees Fahrenheit, or if it spikes over 105 degrees Fahrenheit, the embryos will die. So you will not be able to hatch chickens if your temperature goes below this or above this. So when we do this in the classroom, we actually have a digital thermometer on our incubator that regulates the temperature for us to make sure we're staying in the range that we need. All right, second factor that we have to keep in mind when incubating or keeping eggs warm in the classroom, replacing the hen, again, is this idea of humidity. Humidity is the amount of water vapor in the air, moisture. The incubator, Miss Pardo and I will show you a picture of one. There's a tray in the bottom where we keep water, and we add water each day while incubating the eggs. If the humidity or moisture in the incubator is too low at any time during incubation and or hatch time, the chicks will have trouble hatching. This is because the egg loses too much water during incubation. If this occurs, the chick has a hard time moving in the shell. It could stick to the shell and becomes weak. Lack of humidity in the incubator lowers the number of chicks that hatch. So it's really important to keep moisture in there for the chick to develop properly. Next, turning the eggs. So back when I first started teaching, we did not have automatic egg turners in our incubators, and we had to turn the eggs by hand. So this kind of talks about that. However, if the power goes out or if our egg turners break, then we do follow these steps for turning the eggs. So let's take a look. It says always wash your hands before and after turning the eggs. That's because we have germs on our hands, and the eggs also have germs that could make us sick. So by washing our hands before, we help protect the developing embryo, and by washing our hands after handling eggs, we protect ourselves from germs that may be in the eggs. Next, make sure the eggs are marked with a pencil on opposite sides. So when we're turning by hand, we usually put an X with a pencil on one side, an O on the other side, and that way we know when we've turned them. When we have lots of eggs in an incubator, it's easy to skip an egg, but by marking with X and O, if we're on X, for example, we'll know we've turned them all when we see all the O's. So this helps us keep track of which eggs have been turned. The third bullet here says gently turn the eggs 3 times a day, morning, noon, and end of day. Again, our automatic egg turner does that for us. But if you are turning by hand, doing this an odd number of times each day, 3 times, we make sure the embryo is not resting on the same side during the long overnight hours. So one night the egg will be positioned this way. The next night with those 3 turns, it'll be facing a different direction. Okay, and that helps the development of the embryo as well. And then finally, fresh unpolluted air is really important in your incubator. We don't use markers to label the eggs because the markers often have chemicals or toxins in them that can damage the development of the embryo. And we also make sure we don't use strong chemicals, cleaning products, or insecticides near the incubator and or the classroom. So this is just a little introduction to embryology and some things we keep in mind when we're heating eggs with an incubator rather than with a hen. So thank you for reading this along with me today. And we will discuss this further with Ms. Pardo in our Google Meet session. However, if you're unable to attend that session, I will supply resources and videos that you can look at on your own so that you're not missing out. Thanks.